Hello guys, welcome to die.io, where we build DevOps engineers. Today we're going to be taking a look at project one. So this is the home page for die.io. It's a project-based learning program where we train to become a DevOps engineer for those that are already in the IT industry and for those that just want to switch career. So this is a good place to start. Without further ado, today we are looking at project one. And project one, it's very first step in this DevOps journey. So I assume that you have taken a look at the onboarding video and you have seen how to navigate around the entire website itself. So I'm going to click on this hamburger icon over here and select dashboard. Okay, so right on my dashboard, you're going to see the all section that contains the videos. This was the onboarding section I was talking about. And project one is on step 3, right? So it's very important that you complete this step 2, which is a Linux administration, so that you don't have difficulties when implementing project one. Because at this step 2, you get to learn different Linux commands, you get to learn some Linux tips, so that you start becoming someone that is very much familiar, or someone that's very much okay in the Linux environment. Right, so it's very important that you complete this Linux administration course, take everything step by step. So let's click on project one. Okay, so I've clicked on project one. So the title of project one is Web Stack LAMP implementation, or Web Stack implementation, which is LAMP stack in AWS service, right? So welcome to your very first PPO project. You must be really excited to start getting your hands dirty. There's a lot of projects ahead. So without any delay, let's get started. So as you kick off your career in DevOps, you will soon realize that everything you will be doing as a DevOps engineer is around software, websites, applications, and so on and so forth. So what we're trying to say here in this short steps is that as a DevOps engineer, you get to be, you get to work around different software projects, ranging from website applications to mobile applications, building infrastructure for these things. So as a starting point, we are trying to introduce you to different web stack technology, right? What is this? What's a technology stack? It's a set of frameworks and tools used to develop a software product. So we have some of them as the LAMP, the LAMP, the MEN, and the MAIN. So these are the set of technologies you combine together to deliver a software product, right? So for the first one, which is LAMP, that we're going to be treating today, is the Linux. The Linux here is the operating system. Apache is the web server. MySQL is the database. Then PHP is the language. The Python, it could be Python, it could be Perl, it could be PHP. But this page is one of the oldest. So you can do well to do your homework, research, understand more about LAMP, LAMP, and MEN. For LAMP, the only difference is going to be the web server. The web server using Nginx, pronounced as Nginx, right? So we also have MEN and MEN stack, which is using the NoSQL database. So take your time, read about or watch some couple of YouTube videos for this particular different technology stack. Okay, so after successful completion of previous project 1 to 4, you'll be able to achieve the following: become very confident in your Linux terminal. So that is why I emphasize on the fact that you need to complete your Linux courses. It is very, very important. Then you're going to get familiar with different web stack technologies, right? And you get to know what they do and how you can configure them in the most simple way. Then also you have to at least ensure that you do the side self-study using the Vim, and you can practice here also too. For Windows users, basically, although this still applies to Mac users, right? So I needed to go through these videos: installation part 1, installation part 2. It shows you how to install the Windows terminal. That's for the Windows users. How to set up your PC, how to connect your VS Code to your GitHub, and how to even create your project submission markdown format and how to submit it, right? So the only part that the Mac users can skip is the installation of the terminal. You don't have to install any terminal. Or yeah, you can install a terminal like Item, but you already have a terminal that works perfectly for you. But if you want to install Item, that's fine. But this video still applies to everyone. Okay, so try to watch this video, ensure that you get things ready before you start working on your project. Very, very important. Okay, so probably we even rename this away from Windows installation, but it should not be Windows installation only because it is for everybody. But that's by the way, we get to look at that. So we need to set up the other prerequisite, which is the AWS account. So by now, you should have your AWS account already. you click on the AWS free tier account has been created already. Okay, so what we want to do right now is that, excuse me, we're going to spin up an EC2 instance. So you might have seen a concept of VirtualBox, right? But the only advantage that creating a VM in the cloud gives to us is that the virtual machine does not get to use the resources on our local machine. So if you create a VirtualBox, you should understand that the CPU, the RAM, the storage, and everything is going to be shared by that VirtualBox, right? And by the time you have multiple virtual machines, your PC might get to lag, right? Because it's sharing the resources. If you have an high-end system, that might not be the case. But for our learning purpose, and for the fact that we need to start getting familiar with the cloud, we have shifted away from VirtualBox to the Amazon cloud. There are other different cloud providers, GCP, Google Cloud Provider, Google Cloud Platform, sorry. Then we have Azure that is provided by Microsoft. Then we also have the DAO, Alibaba, so on, you name it. But for this DevOps journey in Dio.io, we see how things coming out, for you guys that is going to relate to Azure and Google Cloud. So, but for now, these projects are being implemented on AWS. So we are creating a virtual machine in the cloud. There's no GUI. That's another thing you have to understand. You have to do everything from the terminal. So you as a client, you're going to SSH over the internet into this instance here. So that's why I said, well, we need a terminal as a client. This is what's going to be your client, this terminal, to get into this instance here. So you create a free tier AWS account and let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to create now. Let's do the setup here. Let's go ahead and create an EC2, right? And let's do something. Okay, so you can see that right here is showing us to create an EC2 and how to create a security group. So let's go ahead and create our security group from here. Before we create our security group, our instance, our EC2 instance, we're going to create a security group, right? So security group is the first line of defense, a firewall that you attach to the instance. So this is what I mean by security group. So it defines, excuse me, it defines what traffic you're allowing into this virtual machine. And it defines what traffic you're going to allow out of the virtual machine. Because we're going to create multiple virtual machines. And by default, when you create an EC2, by default, automatically, AWS creates a security group for you and assign a default route, which is TCP port 22. So that means for every instance you create, you get to have a security group. And that can become messy later on. So what I want us to do is let us create a separate security group that we then attach to every instance that we create as time goes on. So we create a security group here. I'm going to click on create security group. We're going to call it PBL projects. Okay. Let me copy this also. So I'm going to use this as a tag. Just copy that. Then I'm going to say for learning purpose. Yeah. So now let's add a rule, an inbound rule. So now if you check the documentation, it says that you set up TCP ports 22. That is what gets created by default, right? But for now, I'm going to set it to all traffic, which means that all protocol from anywhere. This is not the best practice. But I said this is for learning purpose. By the time you get to project 14 and project 15, you have to start designing. I think project 877 ensures that you design a more secured and narrowed security group, right? So we can do this for project 1 just to understand the concept of security group and stuff. So let's add a tag. A tag just like a way of labeling your resources in AWS. So a security group is a resource, EC2 is a resource, but you need to label them, give them a name, right? So when you're labeling it, you need to have a key and a value. So the key is going to be the name, right? Let's call this name. Let's call this name, and the value should be PBL project, the name of our security group. Let's click on create security group. Now we have the security group created successfully. Let's launch instance now. So AWS has been migrating from their old console. If you don't like this old new console, you can click on this. But I'm going to stick to the new console because as time goes on, they might have to phase out the old console and we got to stick with the new console. So why not use it now and get familiar with it? So let's call this project one. Okay, let's call this project one. Now let's select an AMI. It's going to be Ubuntu 20.04. You leave that way. Okay, instance type t2.micro. Now key pair. We don't have a key pair, so you're going to select create new key pair. Let's call this PVL project. So I'm going to add again that one key pair is enough throughout your entire project. You don't have to create new key pair for each project. Just one key pair can also be attached to all instances. RSA, leave others as default. Click on create pair. Okay, so it's going to ask me to save it now. So this is going to save in my downloads folder. So click on save. I'm going to close that. So leave other settings as default. Leave other settings as default. Don't touch anything. Click on launch instance. And that was successful. Hooray. So let's check our instance as it's launching. So it's still in the pending state. So we have to ensure that it gets to the running state before we can try to connect. Okay, come on. Now it is running. So select the instance. So let's connect. You can select your tabs over here. So you're coming to the third tab here, SSH client. Select this third tab here. Click on example. Okay, now let's go back to our terminal. For Mac users and for Windows users, all the same thing. So I'm going to cd into downloads and paste the command here and click on enter. Yes. Now we can go ahead and begin our projects because we've launched the instance, installed the instance, and successfully SSH into the instance. All right, so let's go to the next one. Okay, let's close this one. We don't need this. So installing Apache and updating the firewall. So do well to read about what HTTP server is, what Apache HTTP server is. So now you can type this command and you can copy the commands, whichever way works for you. Okay, so for now, yeah, I'm going to copy this command here and I'm going to type sudo apt update myself. So let's do the first command, which says sudo apt updates. Installing. Let's clear the screen. Control L to clear the screen. You can just type in clear, whichever. So I'm going to paste this one here. Oh no, not this one. Sudo apt install Apache 2. Right. So let's click enter. Don't forget, Apache is a web server. So you have to wait for it to install. So the next command you now need to check is that you need to check if it is running sudo. The commands are in the documentation already, so you can find it there. Sudo systemctl status. Status needs to check if it is running Apache 2. That's it is running. Now, if you shut down your system right now, or if you stop your instance, and by the time, not your system, if you stop the instance and probably you want to go into something, I don't want to keep it running to save cost. By the time you come back, you might not see this running again. But to ensure that if you stop your instance and you come back on, this runs up automatically. You run this command sudo ctl Apache 2. Okay, so that has been sorted out. Right, so the next thing for us then is so you can see that we have fixed the issue of security also. So the next thing for us is to check if our server is available locally, right? So this call command helps us to get information of a particular web page to check if it is active. So paste this, click on enter. So you can see that our page is what is active, it is up and running properly, right? Okay, so now let's go back to our documentation. Let's check if we can get to see this. You can see that HTTP public IP address, right? So to do this, you can just come to the EC2 instance. Let's select the instance to run this one here. Let's select the public IP address. Select the public IP address here, and let's paste it in the internet. Okay, so I think I made a mistake when we were creating this instance. We did not select the security group. Okay, so which means that if you come to this place and you see these things here. Now, let me click on the public IP address again. I will paste it here. You can see that it is not available on the internet. I tried to check it from my browser. You can see that it's taking very long time to load. Meanwhile, from the terminal, it is very much available, right? So when you see this kind of error, or when you see this kind of thing happening on your applications in any project, this means that there's an issue with your security group, right? It seems that you have not opened, you can see that's failed in eventually. You have not opened that particular port in your security group, your firewall. So your security group is actually a very powerful stuff. So if you go to security groups here, you will see that a launch wizard, a default security group has been created because I didn't select a security group the other time. So what we can do is then come back to this instance, right? I'm going to click on this instance here, select the instance. I'm going to click on actions. I'm going to click on security, click on change security group. Let's add our security group PPO what project. You can see PPO project, select this and click on add security group because this our security group already has everything we need. Okay, then click on save. Good. So let's go back and refresh our page. You can see that it is now working. You can see Apache 2 default page. It works. It shows that our installation is successful. So that's another way to troubleshoot your errors. So don't be scared of having errors. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Let's click on installing MySQL. So the next one is to copy this command. So then let me clear my screen. Click on yes. So while that is installing, let's go grab the next command. Say sudo MySQL. So I'm going to show you something really quick now. This sudo MySQL helps us to connect to the MySQL console. So the Ubuntu terminal is actually different from the console. From your Ubuntu terminal, you can perform actions inside the MySQL database, right? Or inside the MySQL service. You have to switch to the MySQL console to do that. So for you to switch that, you need to do sudo MySQL. Okay. So let's copy sudo MySQL. This is still installing. So let me clear the screen again. Paste sudo MySQL. As you can see now, I'm in the SQL console, MySQL console. So we can perform actions we want to perform now. Now, what we are trying to do here is that we are trying to change the password for the root user. You might not really understand this MySQL command right now, but as time goes on, when you take some MySQL courses, this command will make sense to you. But for now, you should not worry about it. We want to change the password for the root user of our installation. So we're going to click on copy, go back to the terminal and paste. So you can see that alter user root at localhost identified with MySQL native password. This password is going to be the password.1. Okay, so we then type in flush. Already add the semicolon, then exit. Okay, so now since we have successfully updated password for the root user, we can run this command, then sudo MySQL secure installation. Okay, we'll copy it very well. Oh no, where are you running to? Okay, that has been copied. I want to be sure. Okay, I didn't copy it very well. I didn't add a. So let me just, you have seen me running sudo apt sudo stuff for a while now. So this sudo here is just to give an elevated privilege to the current user. So sudo means that run this as a privileged user. That user is like an admin, the super admin, something like that. You know, super doer is called in Linux, super doer. So then MySQL is the name of the package, and installation is what is actual action that needs to be performed. You get, so let's click on enter. So the password we used here was password.1. So we can copy this and paste it here. Okay, now you can see that it is working perfectly now. So they said validate password component. So here you should put in N for no, change the password for root, change the password for root, no, we click on no here also too. Remove anonymous user, click on yes. Zero login, yes, yes, and all done. So we are set with securing our SQL installation. Okay, so that's a way for that. Okay, so now let's try to, if we try to log in and with that sudo MySQL again, it asks for what? Password. So if we do sudo MySQL p, so you can say it's asking for password, which is password dot one. I guess I typed the password correctly. I'm incorrectly. PASSWORD dot one. Guess I'll just copy it. Maybe typing the password wrongly. I just want to show that we have updated the password or something. Okay, so probably I'm typing the password correctly, but at least we have completed our MySQL installation. Let's do sudo MySQL-p. Okay, yeah, this is not going to work because we have disallowed root login when we are doing MySQL installation. Remember that we disallowed root login. That's keep in mind. So I don't expect this to work because we have disallowed root login right here. Okay, so that will be for that installation. Okay, now let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. Now, the next thing that we need to do now is to install PHP, right? So we need to install PHP, which is actually the application itself. So all you have to do is copy these commands over here. Let's click on yes. Okay. Okay, we have that completed. Go back to the documentation. Okay, sorry, back to the page. This is the other page. So we have installed PHP. So the next command to run is php-v. I'm going to clear this screen. So it shows that PHP has been installed. So let's do the next stuff. Okay. Next is to create a virtual host for our website. So now for our website, we need to create a virtual host, right? So in this project, we need to set up a domain called Project LAM. We can replace it with any domain of your choice. So you click on this command to copy and paste. Okay. So when you run a command and it does not return any output, it shows that the command was successful. If you do echo $0, no, sorry, it should be question mark. So you can see that if you do echo dollar, then question mark, if it returns 0, it shows that the last command you run was successful. So the make directory was what successful. So that's why it doesn't return any command. But if I try to run this command again, or if I do an ls-l of this particular var www directory, you can see that I have the folder there already, project lamp. You can see that it's a directory, which shows that it's a folder. Now, if I try to run this command again, it's going to tell me that it's going to fail. You can see make directory cannot create directory because it exists. Now, if you run echo dollar question mark again, right, you can see that it's not going to return 0. You can see that it returns 1, which means that your last command was not successful. Okay, so that was just by the way. Let's proceed. Now, the next thing is to assign ownership to our project lamp folder. So this change charm, which means change ownership to the current user. So you can see there's a dollar there. So it will automatically or dynamically pick the current user and assign it to this folder project lamp, or give us permission to that folder project lamp. Okay, we paste it. So the command was successful. Okay, so the next one, I'm going to be using the VI editor, right? So then create a project lamp.com file and put in our configuration file in there. So let's do that. Click on enter. So the VI, if the file does not exist before, the VI command automatically create a file and then open it at the same time, right? If it exists, you just open it, but if it does not exist, it creates it for you. So that's a nice and a powerful tool that you get to use a lot in a Linux environment. Okay, let's copy this. Ensure that you copy it properly, right? So now, in this VI editor, before you can type anything, once you open a file, either existing or a new one, the first thing you want to do is click on your high keyboard to go into the insert mode. You can see that's changed into insert mode. Now you can type something. So let me paste what I have. I've pasted it. Now I'm done typing. You've finished what you want to write. The first thing you do is click on escape. You notice it lists the insert mode. Then you click on, you hold on to shift and colon at the same time. W means to write, then Q means to queue. That means save and what? And exit. Okay. That's been done. So we have done that. Yeah. So the next thing is to what? So you can use the ls to show that it is in directory already. So do a sudo ls. Okay. You can see that we have it here, project lamp.conf. So let's go to the next one. Now with this virtual host configuration, we want to enable our own site. Don't forget that we're still seeing the default site here. You see that we are still seeing the default Apache site, but we want to see our own website. So to make that happen, we have to enable our own domain and then disable the default domain. Understand? So let's do that now. Okay. Oh no, I didn't copy it properly. So let's go back to the documentation and copy it. Documentation and copy it. So okay. Click on enter. You can see activate the new configuration you need to run. Before we run system ctl reload Apache, let's also disable this one first, right? Let's disable this one and test that our config text is okay. I mean, our config file is okay. Okay, that was successful. Let's run this Apache CTL command to check that our configuration file is valid and it has no errors. So you see test is okay, syntax okay. You see that? Good job so far. So let's go back to the documentation. Let's copy what we have there. Now let's reload Apache 2. Okay. Yeah, enter. So that's been successful also too. Okay. Now our new website is now active, right? But the directory project lab is still empty. So we need to create an index.html file in this location that will then serve our website. So this is like a combined command together. So we're using the echo. If you have taken the Linux administration, you know the echo command does. So you're saying the echo commands to see hello lamp, then it's going to dynamically call this IP address, okay, and then put it inside this folder. That's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to come again. The sudo is a privileged command. Echo means print whatever you have, right? This thing here is going to print it out. Then this caret or this sign is going to then forward whatever this echo command is printing to the terminal to forward it and store it inside this file. So this entire command from here is going to forward it and store inside this file. But why this echo command is printing this to terminal? This call, right? We're asking it to get the public IP address. So this will change to the public IP address. Because anytime you see a $sign preceding a syntax or a command in Linux, it means it's a variable that has a value dynamically, or a variable that a value will be assigned to dynamically. So for your instance, this value will be different. For my instance, the value will be different. Likewise, this one over here also too. You get, so let's copy that. Let's go to the terminal. Clear my screen again. Let's paste there. And you see that no output was system because but our command was successful. So if I do sudo ls-l/var/ww/html, no, not /html, project lamp, you see that we have something inside the index.html. You see that? Okay, so let's go back to all this thing. Now let's go back to our browser and refresh. So you can see we are still having the default page. So if you click on the refresh button, you can see hello lamp from EC2, blah, 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 with public IP this. So this value will definitely be different from you, but it's okay. So now let's go on to the last step for this project to enable PHP on our website. So PHP, our application was written in PHP. So we need to enable PHP. We need to enable our website to load a PHP software. So we're going to go and edit a particular configuration file, which is this. So we want to make sure that our Apache web server can load a PHP application. That does not happen by default, so we can do something to that. So Control C, paste. Why is it not pasting? Control C. Oh, got disconnected. Okay, let's connect back again. I'll go back to that's fine. We got disconnected. Go back to the instance. Let's refresh. Select the instance. Click on connect. And click on example. And paste. And let's go back into the instance. Okay, now we are back inside the instance. So let's go back to where we stopped from. We just continue. Yeah, so let's copy these commands again. Okay, now it's copied now. So you can see we have something there already. Okay, so the trick to this one, what you can do is that you copy, anytime you see an hash here, it means that that particular place is commented out. And this is what we want. Index, then index.php should come next. And like this one has index.html first. So it is safe to copy everything you have here. Copy everything you have here. Then I'm going to show you how to delete entire stuff you have here. So click on insert mode. Right. So go to, sorry, escape again, then shift colon, then %D. So to delete everything here, nothing there. Then go back to insert mode I, then paste what you copied, then save. Yes, so now we've saved that. Right, so let's go and see what next to do. Let's reload Apache. Control C to reload Apache, to copy Apache commands, and paste. Load Apache, that was successful. Now we need to create our index.php file, just like when we created index.html file. But I want to do this with a sudo command. Okay, so let's do this with a sudo command. So I'm going to do sudo paste. So let's copy what we have there. Paste this. And WQ to save as usual, and save. Now let's go and refresh our page and see that the PHP page is now showing, right? Okay, now that will be the last action for this particular project. So it says that it's recommended that because this page has a lot of information about our servers, and if a malicious user to get hold of these, it's going to be dangerous for the company. So we want to go back and remove this. Okay, let's paste this here. Yeah, I'm going to reload Apache again. Cool. So if you go back and refresh, you're not going to see it there again. You see, it is not there anymore. Right, so this brings us to the end of the project. We hope it was a nice ride for you. Right, so what I want to say again was on this particular, before we go, this step of installing MySQL. Right, so as at the time when we were doing secure MySQL installation, we said that it should not allow MySQL, we should not allow root signing. That was a mistake. Your answer should be yes, not no. So please take note of that. That's why I could not sign in afterwards. So when it asks you, when you're doing this command, sudo MySQL install, MySQL secure installation, when it asks for and allow you root sign in, so you click yes, not no. Well, I mistakenly clicked no, but that's fine. We are still able to complete our project. I see you in the next project. Thank you.